Hey, my name is Daniel Lassell, and I just had a new chapbook come out, so I wanted to read a couple poems from it. I'll just sort of dive right in. This first poem is called Clay. It's my first childhood memory. Florida, 1991. The roofer broke his neck, but lived to walk again. The paramedics gave him a proper bed. As I pushed my toy lawnmower, plastic beads bouncing, into a fire anthill, where I stood with bare feet in the forming red cloud. This next one is called The Hunted and the Haunted. Visiting into the night, a dog found a buck sprawled onto the back porch of her home, lung pierced and bubbling, a thick stripe onto his side. A creature of this kind usually dies in woods. Something about the leaves, they dance a soul to sleep. Yet, somehow, in a frantic will to hide, he found instead a wooden deck in the crevice of West Virginia for his gentle exit. Under a broken porch light, the dog sniffed to learn what creature had become unraveled. Antlers gestured to a distant moon. She stood by the heap of breathing, tail immobile, perhaps in reverence, as the deer's muscles began to loosen, then stiffen. She lowered her head, ears up, to the softening rattle of the buck's last tilting nod. The next morning, the dog nudged the youngest of her family outside to the deer, whose languid coat had by then become hushed of wilderness and stale with a leafy stare. The girl retrieved a squirt gun, then called to her mother for a picture. Pour the river dry. And the epigraph reads, deputies interviewed a witness who said Bays was at a home across the road drinking moonshine and waving a revolver. He was trying to get others to drink moonshine, including the victim. Herald Dispatch, March 30th, 2014. When a man shoots another man twice in the chest, once in the abdomen, all for not trying handcrafted moonshine, know where you are. The man and his drink held by the ATV's seat, looking beyond pine trees at the mountains and valleys, cavities people have dug apart for decades, despite how mountains crush into themselves to keep their insides inside them. The man with his moonshine could not share the world if he could not share his making. And some side with the strongest, not knowing the strongest are sometimes cruelest. Nowhere for safety. From where lightning first touched, where fire burning did speed the ground and into trees, pushed ash into water, stomachs burning, sickening with soot, silt, sludge, and the animals rested free of their bodies, wilderness within and outward burning, spindly and brackish, teeth-piercing, anything to hold on to. Home is anywhere made hollow, burning, and become more than. Foundation leaky and unsettled, bespoken and still burning, as shaped as rocks to landscape, as driven to puncture, warp, burden, instead, indeed. Ordinary emergencies. Though some call flesh a persistence of hope, the body is a circumstance. And still, some would have those lingering at the food stamps office beneath prayers and mildew constructed without sound or heat. Some would have them dissipate like smoke from cigarettes at the entrance. dismissed of cosmos their personal and ordinary emergencies. Somewhere there is an ambulance passing into mountains, a trio of huskies howling, their hymns like the whispers of blood beneath skin. What if those never witnessed to anything beyond comfort? What if those never witnessed to the desks, clipboards, and poorly stacked magazines? They would have themselves be everything. And yet the sun and the moon shepherd the earth with a fishing pole's patience, as the beautiful among us go on, slouched without tongues, into liquor stores and laundromats, into the wide loneliness of gas station aisles. Elsewhere. In Estes Park, Colorado, elk pluck flowers out of pots at the library. The night has always been here, this silence between. Vigil 4. Come, let us gather candles, light them. Let us pray for the lost, for what can't be, but with hope for what maybe, please, could be. And what have we learned from ourselves? These emergencies, fires, floods, and roiling storms on every horizon. Shaped from what? Our lust for suffering? We suffer. To delight in wealth is to embrace cruelty. For through wealth we have reaped emptiness. Sweetness relents in each bite, until the whole meal twists knots, stomachs like wind, swallowing some lesser self, winnowing the earth into furrows of ashy nothingness. What will be our last gesture to a God who's created joys and joys taken, whose wealth thus into existence and forced light upon? We grieve for that which ever erodes, which is why time leaps beyond clockwork, weeps as any soil gone by every inch, goodbyes where we have only ourselves, our candlelight. Thank you.